Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. Today for Series Sunday I'm going to be talking about basically the book series that I am currently reading, both physical books and ebooks. So I'll also be talking about books that I've got on Kindle and BorrowBox. To start off with, I'm going to mention a book that's technically kind of a series but not, because it's series adjacent, and that book is Time's Convert by Deborah Harkness. I'm literally just about to start this book. It's all about vampires and demons, and in this one you're looking at Marcus Whitmore and his connection to the de Clermont family, which is in the All Souls trilogy. And yeah, I am very much looking forward to finding out where this book goes. It's in the world of A Discovery of Witches, which is why I've included it in series, but it's more adjacent to it because it's in the world, so it's not a direct sequel. It's in the same universe. Next one is basically I've been wanting to reread the Tess Gerritsen series. I can't really remember how far I got in, and there's been lots of books since. So I've got the first book here, which was The Surgeon. And so this is the introduction of the characters Jane Rizzoli and Dr. Isles. Is Isles in this one, or is it just Rizzoli in this one? I think it's just Jane Rizzoli in this one. But yeah, it's the introduction of the characters Detective Rizzoli and Dr. Isles. There's a million books. I've got so many of them on my bookshelf because I've been adding to them. I have been wanting to reread these for a while. Oh, I always found that the book series, I enjoyed the detective series, the TV series, once I got into it, but it was very different from the reading experience, because for me this is very dark, leaning towards the horror side because of the kind of the gruesome side of it, which I've never been able to be very easily watch. I'm getting better at watching it, especially now that I've been binge watching American Horror Story as well, which I feel like if I can watch American Horror Story, I think I can get through anything now. I love how dark it is. I like a good detective series, but I also like the reading about the gore rather than seeing it. So yeah, I've been wanting to read this for a while, and they continue on. So The Surgeon and the continuing series showing off the talents of Detective Rizzoli and Dr. Isles. Yeah. Next, Dan Brown, Angels and Demons, Da Vinci Code. Angels and Demons was actually the first book. A lot of people don't seem to realise that. Even years later. Da Vinci Code was not the first one, that was just the first one they adapted for the films, but Angels and Demons was the first book, and Da Vinci Code was the second book. This is kind of up there with controversy because of the storyline in regards to like religion and things, and somebody who's not particularly religious, but I am interested in kind of the history of it. I just found these books kind of fascinating. I never read Angels and Demons, but I did read the Da Vinci Code once, years ago, and we've got the full series on the bookshelf, so I want to start this from the beginning and read that all the way through. Next one is probably the most controversial of all of these. I was gifted the Harry Potter complete collection just before lockdown hit, so it was before everything happened. So I'll just get out the first book so that you can see it. I don't particularly want to say her name, but yeah, they've all got these beautiful covers, and I am in the camp of I want to reclaim the series on behalf of the kids who grew up reading this book and will continue to grow up reading these books and the movies. I do not agree with her stance and the essays that she has written. I'm just popping it out there. That I do not agree with the author. As I said, I'm not going to say her name. I don't want to do that. But the Harry Potter collection was a big part of my childhood. As I've said in a previous video and showed in a previous video, I was actually presented one of the Harry Potter books at my Leavers Assembly from primary school, and it has my primary school crest in the front of it. So I have such wonderful memories of reading the books as I was growing up, and so I'm not going to let the words of a human being affect the imagination of kids across the world who read this and enjoyed this book and found comfort in these books. Yeah, that's what I have to say there. But as an adult who has not read these books in a very, very long time, I do want to read this collection. It'll be interesting to read this version because I know that I have some of the original first editions, and I remember one or two of my books have errors in them, like editing errors, and so that is one reason why I always want to keep my first editions of those books. Unfortunately though, I lost my original cover of The Chamber of Secrets. I have no idea where it went, and so now I actually have two of the same cover. Yeah. Yeah, two of exactly the same cover. So yeah, I have attempted to find the original cover for the second book, and once did attempt to buy one, but the seller messed me about and I never got it, so I had to get a refund. But yeah, reclaiming Harry Potter for the people who do not agree with the author, but still want to enjoy the memories that they have of reading these books as they grow up. So that's that. On to Kindle. For those who have been watching, I have been reading the Beaufont saga by Sarah Noffke and Michael Anderle. There's lots of different series here. If I go in, I started by reading the Sophia books, which was book 2 technically, but yeah, so I started off with the Sophia Beaufont, and then I've gone back to the first set, which was Liv Beaufont, which I'm just coming to the end of. After that there's the Unexplainable Fairy Godmother, which is the Inscrutable Paris Beaufont, and then after that you've also got the Extraordinary Fixer, which is Agent Beaufont. It's a fantasy series about a royal magic family called the Beaufonts, and each series looks at a different family member. As I said, I started off with Sophia, who is a dragon rider. I've then gone back to Liv, which was the original story, which it then continued off from, and she's Warrior Beaufont. And then you've also got Agent Beaufont, and yeah, I'm just greatly enjoying these. So it's just looking at all the hidden secrets of the Beaufont family. You're basically looking at the female characters of the Beaufont family. To be honest, I think I'd love to see the boys' side of it as well, because of the siblings, of the original siblings that we see. There is also Clark, and I think that would be an interesting story to see if she ever wanted to do a prequel to Liv, and seeing how Clark was affected by the deaths of his parents and his role within the House of 14. Throughout it, you see Liv and Sophia in the later books realising the bad seeds in the house, and basically it's their mission to do good and bring balance to the world. But yeah, it's just a wonderful series, and I'm really, really enjoying it. The other series I am reading is the Jessie Hunt series by Blake Pierce. This has a million different books. At the moment, it's up to 31 books on Amazon, but I think there could possibly be more. I'm on a pause of this series at the moment because I like to do them in threes. So I have read it up to book 26. I think 27 and 28 are available, but 29 isn't available yet. So when 29 is available, I will then get those 3. But yeah, you're basically focusing on a character called Jessie Hunt, who at the very beginning of the book, she's doing her master's, she's training to be a profiler for the police, and it's just the backstory and how that is taken through each independent story is brilliant. So it's basically a detective series, but you're following it through the profiler's point of view and her role within the police in helping them to find killers. But then you're also looking at her whole backstory in regards to her being the daughter of a prolific serial killer, and how that affects her day to day, basically how that affects her in her job, and how that affects her ability to be a profiler. And yeah, throughout the series you're seeing things being picked up. So like in the first book you find out that her husband isn't who she thinks he is, and then it ties in with her father and other stories going through. You meet her half-sister, who is also the daughter of the father, so they had shared fathers rather than shared mother. And yeah, it's just, I absolutely love this series. I love the complete backstory in regards to Jessie and how being the child of a serial killer affects a person, and then when the sister is brought in, Hannah, how it affects the two siblings in different ways. Obviously we meet Jessie in her 30s at the beginning, or she's like late 20s, early 30s at the beginning of the story when we meet her, and then when she meets her sister Hannah and she's a teenager, so you're seeing how it has affected them in different ways, finding out about their father, and yeah, how that affects their ability to see the world, and whether they have their own psychopathic tendencies, how much they've gotten from their father, that kind of thing. And each individual book also has its own murder mystery within it. So yeah, I've compared reading this book to watching a comedy detective series. So like watching like Castle and The Rookie and Rosalian Isles, and just those kind of shows where they've got the comedy, they are funny, you've got characters that you really like focusing on, there's also the continued backstory all the way through. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving that, and the first book in that series is called The Perfect Wife, and it is by Blake Pierce. I have actually also started The Whitehaven Witches by TJ Green. This is one that my dad has already read all the way through. So me and my dad, we share our books on essentially like one of those like family Kindle accounts, so we can see all the books. My dad has finished it now and is obsessed, and I think there's quite a few like adjacent storylines as well, so there's like a lot of adjacent books which have their own series. But yeah, I'm very interested in this. It says, welcome to Whitehaven, where the witches keep their secrets close. The quirky town of Whitehaven has a history of witchcraft, but the locals don't know that there are 5 real witches living among them. And so I think from the looks of things, you are following the story of the witches and keeping their secret and looking at the history of the town and stuff. It's just like, that sounds just like right up my alley for somebody who's also quite interested in witchcraft. So on BorrowBox, after having completely binge watched all 3 seasons of Big Sky and finding out they were based on books, I was just like, oh, that would be interesting to find. And so I found the Big Sky collection by CJ Box. It starts with the book 3 Weeks to Say Goodbye, Blue Heaven and Back of Beyond. And from the looks of things, with the Big Sky collection and the series that kind of goes on from that, it looks like it's going to be a little bit different from the TV series, which I'm kind of looking forward to. So it looks like you're looking at a male character over the first couple of books, and then after that it switches to seeing Cassie's point of view, which in the TV series it focused on Jenny, not Cassie. And I was like, I wonder why they decided to switch up the main focus, because in the TV series you've got them as private investigators, Jenny and Cassie, but the books are advertised as the Cassie books. So it's just like, oh, so Cassie's supposed to be the main one, but the TV series implied that Jenny was the main one. So don't know what they did there. I must admit, I absolutely loved the TV series. It got a bit weird in places. The first 2 series covered kind of the main storyline, which was kind of the highway, where they were looking at 2 girls who went missing. It leads the town, Jenny and Cassie, and the local police to then discover a trafficking thing happening in regards to the big truck drivers. And yeah, so as you can imagine, seeing that, I was just like, and also watching it, it kind of reminded me of Happy Valley in a way, the British series, which is how dark it was, but also the fact that it did also have moments of comedy, but it definitely feels a lot darker than your traditional detective comedy series. I wouldn't put it as detective comedy, I'd put it as very dark. So I'm very much looking forward to reading the books and seeing how different or similar they are to how the TV series presented it. So that's the series that I'm currently reading. I've still got this bloody cough and it's driving me insane. As you can hear, my voice keeps going in and out. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying the videos. There's also the bell notifications if you want to get the second that I upload. And as I talk, I see my light is trying to tell me to shut up. Yeah. I will see you next time with another video. Stay safe, everybody. Love you all. Bye.